Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Mai, and today's video is going to be this large family home that I have built in the world of Ciudad Enamorada, which is the world that came with Lovestruck. And I gotta tell you guys, I am kind of obsessed with this. I decided to call it Casita Tortuguita because I placed some like turtle mosaics in the courtyard at the front of the house. So if you don't know, Tortuguita means little turtle, so I thought it would be really cute and really fitting and a little bit unique. But yeah, this ends up having 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and probably one of my favorite kitchens of all time. I need to tell you, I'm actually obsessed with it. I think it's super cute and it's really colorful and it's, very much in like that Spanish kind of terracotta mission style, and it turned out really, really nice. I really wanted to kind of make like a single family home in this style. I did make some duplexes for this world a little while back, and I really love the way that they turned out, and I just wanted to make something that was maybe a little bit more neutral, a little bit more classic, and but yeah, that still like had a lot of these Latin American elements. And we used a lot of packs, a lot of Lovestruck, a lot of For Rent, and mostly Jungle Adventure actually. And I feel like that makes sense though, because it is like a Latin American instyled build and inspired world, and Jungle Adventure is also kind of like that, maybe a bit more like Central America, but it still has like that energy to it. And over here I was going to use the Jungle Adventure roof tiles, but I decided to go with the base game one instead. I feel like the tiles are a little bit smaller, the shingles are a little bit smaller, and I preferred that. But we are now also going to be placing the windows. I did use a lot from Lovestruck and For Rent because the swatches matched each other and they matched a lot of the build, and yeah, I just really like how they looked. Originally I'm going for a bit of a darker wood, but I do end up going with the much lighter swatch, which you will see me change, in real time or in the video. I don't leave that for post-production. But yeah, I originally go with this darker wood to match the front door, but I ended up switching it to the lighter woods to match the accents that we have around, so like the fencing and the columns and all of that. I really love this little area actually that I placed right here with the big windows. I really love those windows, but they're very specific for like, I don't know, like they're made for a very particular room, a very particular style, so they aren't easy to place in just any build, but I really love just like how open they are and everything. And here I decided to place those kind of like balcony accents for, I guess accents, wall decorations, which are another kind of feature in the game, or item in the game that I really love placing, but again are like for a specific style that you're building in. You can't just place it anywhere. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got to fit those in. But we are going to be starting now on the interior, and specifically with the kitchen. I used the tiles from Jungle Adventure that I placed in the courtyard, but I might have used a different swatch, I can't actually tell. They might be the same one. But yeah, I used the flooring from Jungle Adventure. Also even the wood flooring that I used in the rest of the house is Jungle Adventure. And there you can see me changing the color of the windows. But yeah, then the walls are actually base game, and I really love this one that has the terracotta trim at the bottom. I felt like it really, just like matched everything. It really like wrapped the room together. And I actually, for this build, took a lot of inspiration from the terracotta tiny home that I made a little while back that I really, really adore. And so I wanted to make the kitchen very colorful because I did that in that build. And here you can see me using the country kitchen cabinets, or not cabinets, sorry, counters. And something that I end up doing in post-production, because I felt like the room was missing something, is that I actually end up adding a diagonal bit where technically the counters are kind of clipping into each other. You will see in the screenshots what that looks like. But yeah, I let the counters clip in together. I really didn't let it bother me too much. And yeah, I created a little diagonal bit, which I hope that in the future we do get a feature where we can kind of create more diagonals in the kitchen. I feel like that's a really difficult thing to do. Just anything diagonal in The Sims is really difficult to do. But yeah, specifically in the kitchen, I feel like it would look really cool and create really interesting spaces. And I'm glad that, in a way I did get to do that here. But anyways, we are also going to be adding cabinets, and I decided to use the Parenthood cabinets to kind of mix it up a little bit. And I felt like they were, I don't know, I really like the warm wood. I like that it was a different wood than the one on the counters. I'm in like what is it, like a phase, an era of just mixing woods together, which I'm really happy about because I felt like I feel like that's something that I avoided in the past because it was a little bit scary to be mixing woods, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at it, so that's really nice. And I really love this cabinet that I placed that has, I think it's from Cottage Living. I really love the wood tone on that. It's very warm and really brings the space together. And also a little breakfast nook that I created was also something that I took from my terracotta tiny home because it was really cute and I felt like it would be really nice to include that here as well. I feel like I want to be doing that in more builds, but I also don't want to be super repetitive all the time. So I will use it sparingly, but for right now, I just felt like it looked so gorgeous. But yeah, there you can see that it's still very open over there and it felt very empty. So that's why I ended up creating the diagonal. And now we're just going to be adding the rest of the windows that I forgot about a little bit and adding some more of these wall decorations of these balconies. And we're gonna get started on this very large living area that I honestly didn't even know what to do with most of the time, but I decided to clip it in half, I guess just cut it in half here and place the matching arch for the front door that are from going together, like the arch and the door are from going together. And I really like it. I really love this wood. I really like, especially the front door kind of has like a rustic texture to it, which I really like, a little bit of like a worn texture. And now we're going to be creating the living room kind of smack dab in the middle of this entire area, which might seem a little bit weird. And there were times where I just felt like, oh, maybe this is kind of, I don't know, invasive, especially the TV being kind of like right in the middle. Like it doesn't feel super natural, but I decided to just go with it. And I love the way that this looks like. I love the way it turned out. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about all of this. But I love the mix of colors and the mix of woods. I think that they all look really cool. And also the mix of packs. I mean, the couch is from Growing Together, the love seat is from High School Years, and I think the armchairs are from For Rent. So it's kind of all over the place like the rest of this build, but I really love how I was able to just like blend those styles together, which I feel like is sometimes really difficult to do in The Sims, to just kind of take a bunch of different things and just, you know, force them to harmonize. But I also used these curtains from For Rent, which I think are supposed to go on doors, but I really like the way that they looked on the windows. And yeah, I decided to use them and just go with it. And we also created a little dining area over here in this little nook, which I also really love. I used both the chairs and the table are from Wedding Stories, and then the rug is actually from Laundry Day, which I was a little bit shocked that I managed to fit that in here. I don't know if I've ever actually used that rug and that swatch. And I don't really know about you guys, but that's always a really fun thing to do, is to kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like discovering a brand new item, and looks really cool. And over here I'm placing a hallway table, and I decided to place a little like jungle adventure chair next to it, and I placed those plants on the wall as just a little decoration, and I thought that that looked really cool as well. Over here I decided to place a bookshelf because I hadn't found a place for a bookshelf yet, and it was, you know, once you find an empty wall, it's important to use it for something like that. And under this window I wanted to place an ottoman. Yeah, just another kind of seating area for, I don't know, so you can sit and put your shoes on or something. But I didn't really like the way it was looking, so I ended up kind of copying over that hallway table. And I feel like it's kind of nice in a family home to have a lot of storage, which I know technically in The Sims this doesn't actually provide any storage, but in my head it just like makes sense to have a lot of storage around for, I don't know, craft supplies or like, yeah, school supplies, games, photos, I don't know, things like that. And over here I thought about using this wall as a bookshelf area again, but it didn't really fit, and I thought about turning this whole space into an office, but it also just like didn't feel right. So I ended up putting this standing piano in from Growing Together, and in the corner I placed a little bar stool from the Cozy Bistro kit, because I really love just placing bar stools in corners. That's like kind of my thing right now. I mean, I just really like the way that it kind of adds something a little bit vertical, and also adds a little, I don't know, it's something easy to like place in a tiny corner. I feel like it's really hard to find items that can kind of fit in a quarter tile space. So I've been doing that a lot. And yeah, I went a little bit back and forth on what to do with this open space, about whether I should put another dining table or kind of, you know, it's like a big kind of communal desk area or something like that. But instead I decided to make it just another little living room, another seating area, except it's more of like a quiet room because there's no TV in this area. And yeah, I placed this love seat from Jungle Adventure, a little coffee table from Base Game, and I actually ended up placing 2 armchairs instead of the love seat. You can see me doing that now. These ones are from Horse Ranch, and I really love the texture on them. I don't really like the pillow that much, but I do like the texture of the leather, so I do place that, give it a little plant and some lamps in the corner, so it's almost like a little reading nook. And under this painting, I decided to just place a shelf, which I feel like is a lot easier than finding a hallway table that fits in a smaller space. I feel like I do that quite a lot, just like a little almost floating hallway table, and just place a little ottoman under that to ground it and anchor it a little bit more. And then of course just adding some more like bits and bobs, little plants around to yeah, just like fill in these like smaller spaces, bring in a little bit more light. I definitely went a little bit more neutral with the colors than I had in my terracotta tiny home. So I was trying to find some more ways to bring color in, and originally for the staircase I had chosen this one from the Lovestruck expansion pack, but I ended up switching it with one from Jungle Adventure, which I felt like really matched the colors a lot better and kind of lightened the space up a little. And we are now going to be working on the primary bedroom, which is upstairs, and I decided to go with a bed from Jungle Adventure and pair it with this canopy item from Lovestruck, which is brand new and a little bit hard to find actually in the menu. I don't remember how I discovered it. I think when I was just kind of generally going through all of the build and buy items, I usually just kind of search for it because it's hard to find just like scrolling through the gallery, or not gallery, through the menu. So anyways, yes, I decided to place that over the bed just to give a little bit of privacy. It is a very large room, so I think it's a good way to kind of separate the bed from the rest of the room. And over here on this wall, I decided to place a full-length mirror between those 2 windows. I felt like it was the perfect spot for it, and then just kind of frame it with some dressers on the side. So each parent that lives here, if there are 2 parents that live here, they can have a dresser each. They don't have to fight for space. And I was struggling a little bit with the swatches to use in here because I originally went with this teal bed with the orange accents, and it just like wasn't really, I don't know, it just wasn't really working for me. So I decided to switch it to this blue one instead, and I am much happier with the way that that looks. I feel like it, yeah, it feels a little bit less loud, which is nice. Something though, speaking of loud, that I didn't really realize until I was taking the screenshots is just how many patterns that I have placed in this room. Because I was so obsessed with like the way that all of the colors were working, I didn't really realize that there are so many different patterns and textures in here, which I am not mad about. I think that it looks really cool. I think that it looks really fun. I think that it really like gives off the illusion that, or the impression that the Sims that live here are just really fun and exciting people. So I do really like that. And yeah, I think it looks really nice. I want to know what you guys think of this room. Is it like a little bit too much, the mix of patterns, or does it look okay? And we are starting on the first kids room, which is going to be a double room. Originally I was going to use the Jungle Adventure single beds, but instead I decided to go with this one from Growing Together in this like kind of purple, pink, blue swatch, and just kind of let it guide the style of the room. I did decide to use an orange wallpaper, which more than the bedding actually just matches the wood like textures on the frame. So I really liked that I instead of trying to match the bedding, I decided to match the wood because it's a little bit different. I feel like we're usually inclined to match the bedding. So anyways, that's really nice. And then I used a dresser from Cats and Dogs. So again, mixing some different packs in here, some different styles, and I think it looks really nice. And then I also actually used curtains from Island Living. So yeah, those like sheer ones, which I really adore. And I also, for the smaller windows, used the curtains from Cozy Bistro Kit, which are the ones that I used in the kitchen, but I do really love them. And on this like very large wall, I wasn't really sure what to do. Like I have this kind of whole extra area in the room, and I didn't know. I wanted something like maybe for studying, some desks or something, and instead I decided to use the large wall to just place these, like all of these bookshelves are from kids' room, and I thought that it would be really nice, you know, just imagine that they have a lot of crafting supplies, a lot of books, a lot of school stuff. And just in this area, originally I thought about placing just like a dining table and some chairs around so that they can both do their homework there. But yeah, it wasn't really looking right. I do end up changing it, but I actually got this idea from a build that I had made just on my own a really long time ago. My family had like triplets or something, and for like their room, instead of placing 3 separate desks, I just placed like a table in the middle, and I was just like, yeah, you know, go to town, do your homework all together. And it's kind of nice for like projects and stuff. I mean, in real life, you don't actually, I don't know, but I guess when they're doing their homework together in The Sims, like that's really cute to have them all sitting at the same table, especially in their own room. But yeah, I was trying to kind of create that sort of illusion, but there's just something about this that just wasn't looking right to me, and I wasn't sure how to use this space. So I decided to tone it back, go a little bit simpler. I placed this rug in front of the bookshelves, just placed a couple of seats, and just kind of left it a little bit more open to interpretation. So like if your Sims want to just sit there and read, they can sit there and read. If they want to just, I don't know, sit there and gab, they can sit there and gab. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to leave it a little bit more open because I felt like I was designating a purpose to that space that it wasn't meant for it. But of course, if you have other like skill building items that you think would look good there, go for it. You can't find this on the gallery, so you can get this, you can customize it, you can make the bedrooms, you know, fit your family. And we are working on the second, or I guess the third bedroom. I was gonna say like the second kid's bedroom, but this room is going to be for a teenager-ish person, or just a very mature child, maybe a young adult. It could also work as like, I don't know, one of the parents' siblings or something, because it's more of like a mature room. And I decided to go with the orange wallpaper that I used for the kids' room, except I decided, yeah, I don't know, I was like, oh, I originally wanted to do a different color because, you know, you don't want them having to share the same color or whatever. I feel like it was less individual, less personalized, but I guess the items in the build are so different that it does look different enough. And personally, I had the same color walls as like the entire house for most of my childhood. Like when I was a kid, all the walls were just white. And it wasn't until I was kind of like a preteen teenager that my parents finally let me paint my room. And I just did like one wall. I painted it teal because that's how old I am. I had, you know, it's a canon event. You can't interfere. Your child will have a teal wall, at least one. Worse with my sister, who painted her room like this bright coral salmon pink that was so nauseating. So you know what? We all make mistakes. So I decided I'm just gonna keep the walls the same color to avoid, you know, any mishaps. But I think that the color actually works a lot better for this room. Like this is definitely like, it was supposed to be the orange room because I used a lot of reds and just like a lot of like warmer, burnt, bright, I don't know, colors. And then, yeah, I guess technically the other room should have had the pink wall or whatever. But I think it still looks nice. I think that it makes sense for kids' rooms to be the same color. Anyways, that was a really long tangent that I went on, and we are working on the backyard now. I had enough space out here to place a pool, which is really good because this world is very warm. And yeah, doing a little bit of landscaping. I do like the bulk of it. I think I do actually the bulk of it in the video and just kind of do some final touches off camera in post-production. But yeah, just placed some trees around and kept it pretty simple. I didn't like overdo it. And for the pool trim, I wanted to use some of like the ones from the Riviera kit, but they were kind of clipping under the fence. So I decided to go with just like the base game, like regular pool trim, and used the stairs from the Riviera kit. And then I think those lounge chairs are actually from Wedding Stories. So yeah, they were really nice. I really liked the colors on that. And over here, creating a little outdoor cooking area with that barbecue from the Desert Luxe kit and the counters from For Rent, which, yeah, they looked really good together. And also placed a big old table out here for the family to have meals and enjoy them. And I was trying to rotate the elm tree so that it wouldn't clip in to the house, because the leaves always just clip in somehow. So I did do my best to avoid that. And yeah, this ends up looking really nice. It's a very large outdoor space, which kind of shocked me because I already felt like the house took up so much space, but there was still so much yard space. How many more times can I say space? Also, I went into the live edit objects menu and I found a car to place out here just to kind of, I don't know, again, use this like outdoor area, not gonna say space, this outdoor area for something a little bit more fun, not just so monotone to just create a big block backyard. And here's where I briefly get distracted and do some landscaping for the front yard, and I will, I think, do a little bit of the courtyard right now as well. But I also place a lot of hydrangeas, which I don't know if they're actually like proper for this world, but you can't really tell that they're hydrangeas, and I just really liked kind of like the big bushes with the flowers. It looked really nice, and I'm also kind of a sucker for hydrangeas because I had a lot of those flowers. I'm not gonna keep repeating the same word over and over again. I did have a lot of them in my childhood backyard, so I felt like I kind of wanted to place them here. And yeah, just adding a lot of planters. I added like the actual gardening planters up here, and I also placed a couple in the backyard later on. So I felt like clearly they really like gardening and flowers, so I wanted to place a lot of them. And here's where I added the little turtle mosaics in the courtyard, so I felt like it was kind of fitting to call this Casita Tortuguita. And also placing some outdoor lighting and everything, and yeah, just a lot more plants. Kind of repetitive with the plants, but it kind of just happens in The Sims because once you find something in one style, you kind of want to repeat it. And I don't know, maybe they grow these flowers and that's why they have so many of them. Also, this big long table that I placed in front of the dining area is actually going to be kind of like a potting gardening table, which is another thing that I had done in my terracotta tiny home, which I wanted to bring to this one. Maybe like that was like their starter home, like the couple's starter home, and now this is like their family home. I think that would be a really cute storyline. Oh my gosh, I kind of want to do that now, which is kind of saying a lot because I'm not really one for gameplay, at least anymore. I definitely used to be like, I used to love playing The Sims, but ever since I started building religiously, I just haven't really had that bug, you know, that gameplay bug, or like storylines just didn't really come easily to me. Or maybe I would kind of just get stuck and create a sim. I'd build a house now and I'm like, oh, I want to make the family for it, and then I make the family for it, and I guess I already play out so many storylines in my head that I just like, what's the point in actually playing it out? I don't know, maybe does that ever happen to you where you go so deep into the lore in your own brain that once you actually start playing with it, you're like, okay, well, I already know what happens, so like, what's the point in actually doing it? Please tell me I'm not the only one. But now we're, yeah, just completing some of the landscaping, or just adding the little finishing touches of the overgrown, low-lying pale flowers, which I really love, which always makes my landscaping look way more natural. And of course, terrain paint. I really, really love doing that. It really just shades the build, really adds an extra dimension to it. And yeah, I say this every time that I have to landscape and terrain paint. And also adding some more trees out front because we were a bit lacking up here, and I really like them. They look really fluffy. They look very magical in a way to me. I really like the shape of them, and I don't know, just the very simple trunk is very adorable. But wow, we are actually at the screenshots. I was not expecting that. But yeah, we're at the screenshots now. We're gonna get to see any little bits and bobs that I've added in post-production. But overall, I'm just so happy with this build. I've had the idea of making like a nice big terracotta family home for a long time, and now I finally did it. Here we have that little kind of entryway area. I just placed a little bench in there with some plants, and here we have little seating areas out here. I can definitely imagine a couple people sitting at that patio table and just like looking out onto the street, kind of people watching. And here we have our living space. You can probably tell that I didn't clutter up the coffee table, and that is simply because I forgot. So my apologies, but you know what? I think it's fine. Then you can clutter it up with whatever you want, or you can use it to, I don't know, when you have people over, to like put the food there and people can serve themselves from there. I feel like this would be a really good house for entertaining because it is quite open. Here we have the kitchen where you have the diagonal counters, which I'm so in love with. I think they look really cool, and it is really easy to just ignore the clipping. Like, you can just pretend that you don't see it, right? And here in this breakfast nook, I did add a little bit more clutter and those wall lights and a couple of paintings as well, which really complete the space. I'm just obsessed with this. Over here, again, I also added some picture frames, and I feel like the ceiling paint also really helps complete a look. And changing the ceiling lights, I always like build with just like the regular saucer lamps, and then I add in chandeliers afterwards. And I really like the ones that I chose from the Cozy Bistro kit. here we have our hallway, which I did off camera because if not it gets too long. Same with the bathroom. I feel like bathrooms are a little bit boring, so I did this in post-production and I think it looks really cute. I really like the colors I chose, and honestly it feels very lived in, very cluttered, and very real. I feel like it feels realistic. But again, I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Like, do you guys think it looks realistic? It does in my head. And here we have our very, very patterned primary bedroom. I can remember my words, but yeah, there's a lot of patterns going on, a lot of textures, but I think that they do harmonize in a way. I think that they look pretty great, and I really didn't clutter it too much because I guess I didn't have to with everything that it already had going on. And here we have our kids' room. I did add a lot of clutter, a lot of shelves, and yeah, on that dresser I added just a whole bunch of clutter just to really make it seem like a kids' room, because an uncluttered kids' room feels a little bit unnatural to me. It's like an oxymoron. They just like contradict each other. And here we have our teen room, which I don't think I actually touched this room at all in post-production because it was already perfect. I already just really liked the way that it looked, that it wasn't overly cluttered, but still felt lived in and loved. So why mess with perfection? And now we have our outdoor space, which I really also am super, super into. Also don't think I changed too much, maybe a little bit of like landscaping, but when it comes to like just the larger furniture, I've left it pretty much the same. I did clutter it up quite a bit already while filming, so didn't really feel necessary to add more. But this is actually going to be the last space we see, and I really can't wait to hear what you guys think. But I hope that you enjoyed this build as much as I did. Bye Buzz, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, comment, and share with your friends. Talk to y'all soon. Bye!